The war had lasted for 12 long years. Every day, humans and aliens fought across burning planets. Cities turned into dust. Rivers became red with fire. No one remembered how the war had truly started. They only remembered one rule: never trust the enemy. Sergeant Ethan Walker had followed that rule for many years. He was one of the best soldiers in the Human Defense Force. He had survived battles where hundreds of others had fallen. His face carried small scars, and his eyes had seen more pain than most people could imagine. Now he walked alone through the broken battlefield of planet Nero 7. The sky was dark. Black smoke covered the air. Broken spaceships lay everywhere like giant dead animals. Small fires burned between the metal pieces. The wind carried the smell of smoke and burned machines. Ethan held his plasma rifle tightly. His mission was simple: search the battlefield. Find any survivors. Return before night. His helmet scanner showed no signs of life. Only silence. Only death. Then, a soft sound reached his ears. It was not an explosion. It was crying. Very quiet. Very weak. Ethan slowly turned toward the sound. His rifle pointed forward. He walked carefully between two broken walls. The crying became louder. Then he stopped. A small figure stepped out from behind a damaged engine. It was a little alien girl. She could not have been older than 7 years. She had pale blue skin, large silver eyes filled with tears. Long white hair moved gently in the wind. She wore a torn gray dress covered in dust. Both of her small hands held a glowing blue crystal close to her chest. Ethan's finger rested on the trigger. Every human soldier knew the Zerans. They were dangerous, fast, smart, deadly. Children could also be used as traps. His training told him to shoot first. But something stopped him. The little girl did not attack. She did not run. She simply looked at him with frightened eyes. Her small body shook with fear. Slowly, she took one careful step closer. Then another. Finally, she stood only a few feet away. She raised the glowing crystal with both hands. Her voice was shaking. "Please." She swallowed hard. "Please, save my mother." Ethan frowned. His rifle lowered only a little. "What did you say?" The girl touched the crystal. Blue light filled the air. A hologram appeared above it. Ethan's eyes widened. The image showed an injured alien woman lying inside a dark cave. She was badly wounded. Blood covered her armor. She struggled to breathe. Several strange machines surrounded her, but none of them worked anymore. The little girl looked at Ethan again. "My mother is dying. Please. You are the only human I found." Ethan stayed silent. His mind raced. This had to be a trick. It had to be. Alien soldiers had fooled humans before. But the girl's tears looked real. Her fear looked real. She looked exactly like a child who had lost all hope. Ethan slowly shook his head. "I can't help you. You are the enemy." The girl's face fell. Fresh tears rolled down her cheeks. Before she could speak again, a loud crack echoed across the battlefield. The little girl's eyes suddenly became wide. Without thinking, she jumped forward. She pushed Ethan with all her small strength. At that same second, a plasma shot flew through the air. It missed Ethan's head by only a few inches. The blast exploded against the broken wall behind him. Pieces of metal rained across the ground. Ethan quickly rolled behind cover. His heart raced. "Sniper!" He looked toward the distant ruins. A hidden alien hunter stood on top of a collapsed tower. The sniper fired again. Ethan returned fire. Bright blue plasma across the battlefield. The sniper disappeared behind the broken wall. Ethan looked back at the little girl. She had saved his life. She could have let the sniper kill him. Instead, she had protected him. Why? Nothing about this made sense. Suddenly, the girl's face turned pale. She looked toward the sky. Fear filled her silver eyes. "They found us," she whispered. A deep mechanical sound echoed through the clouds. Ethan looked up. His blood turned cold. 3 black attack ships broke through the smoke. Each ship carried the symbol of the Zeran Shadow God, the most feared hunters in the galaxy. The ships slowly circled above the battlefield. Searchlights swept across the ruins. The little girl grabbed Ethan's arm. "They are not here to save us. They want my mother dead." Before Ethan could answer, one of the ships stopped directly above them. Its large landing doors slowly opened. Heavy armored soldiers began jumping toward the ground. Ethan tightened his grip on his rifle. The little girl looked at him with desperate eyes. If we stay, we all die. Then, from the darkness beneath the broken city, a massive metal door slowly opened by itself. Cold air rushed out from the underground tunnel. A deep voice echoed from inside the darkness. I knew you would bring the child. Ethan froze. Someone had been waiting for them all along. The deep voice echoed through the dark tunnel. I knew you would bring the child. Sergeant Ethan Walker quickly raised his plasma rifle. The little alien girl stepped behind him, holding the glowing crystal tightly. Her small hands were shaking. Heavy footsteps came from the darkness. An old alien slowly walked into the light. His back was bent with age. His silver robe was torn and covered with dust. One of his eyes was mechanical and glowed with soft blue light. Small metal arms moved behind his back like tiny tools. He looked tired, but his face showed no fear. You can lower your weapon, the old alien said calmly. I am not your enemy. Ethan did not move. I have heard those words before. The old alien gave a small smile. And yet, the little girl trusted you. He looked at the child. You were brave, Lyra. The girl finally smiled. Professor Kale. I knew you were alive. She ran forward and hugged him. For the first time since Ethan had met her, she looked safe. Ethan lowered his rifle, but only a little. You know this child. Kale nodded. I helped bring her into this world. Ethan frowned. What is going on? Kale looked around carefully. We do not have much time. The Shadow Guard will search every corner of these ruins. He pressed his hand against a broken wall. Hidden lights came alive. The old metal door closed behind them with a loud boom. The tunnel became bright. Ancient machines lined both sides of the hallway. Some still worked. Others had been dead for centuries. Lyra looked at Ethan. My mother is deeper inside. She is waiting. They walked through the underground station. The walls were covered with strange symbols. Old human letters were mixed with alien writing. Ethan noticed something strange. These symbols, they are human. Kale nodded slowly. Because humans built this place. Ethan stopped walking. Impossible. Kale looked at him with serious eyes. The history your people know is not the whole truth. Before Ethan could ask another question, a loud alarm echoed through the station. Red lights flashed everywhere. Kale checked an old screen. They are inside. The Shadow Guard found another entrance. Without wasting time, Kale led them into a large underground laboratory. The room was filled with broken glass tubes and sleeping machines. Dust covered everything. In the center stood a single glowing chamber. Inside it floated hundreds of tiny blue lights. Ethan stayed in silence. What is this? Kale answered quietly. Hope. He walked toward the chamber. Many years ago, humans and Zarans worked together. They created a living cure. A cure that could heal almost any disease. Ethan looked shocked. If that is true, why are we at war? Kale looked down. Because someone wanted this cure to disappear. He turned toward Lyra. Her mother protected the last living sample. That is why everyone wants her dead. Suddenly, the glowing crystal in Lyra's hands became brighter. The chamber responded. Blue light filled the room. Hidden files appeared above the machines. Old recordings. Human scientists. Alien doctors. Working side by side. Laughing together. Ethan could hardly believe what he was seeing. Everything he had been taught suddenly felt wrong. Then, boom, the laboratory shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. Another explosion followed. The Shadow Guard had reached the lower tunnels. Kale quickly closed the recordings. We must leave now. He opened a hidden passage behind the chamber. It led into a narrow tunnel. As they ran, loud growls echoed ahead. Huge shadows moved inside the darkness. 3 massive tunnel beasts appeared. Each creature was larger than a military truck. Their black skin looked like solid stone. Rows of glowing teeth filled their mouths. Lyra gasped. The cave hunters. The first beast charged. Ethan fired 3 plasma shots. The blast slowed it down but did not stop it. The second beast jumped toward Lyra. Without thinking, Ethan threw himself in front of her. The monster slammed into him. He crashed against the wall. Pain shot through his shoulder. Still, he stood up again. No one touches the child. He pulled a plasma grenade from his belt. As the beasts rushed together, Ethan threw it into the center of the tunnel. Run! A blinding explosion filled the passage. The tunnel shook. Rock crashed down behind them. The beasts disappeared beneath tons of stone. Silence returned. They had escaped. But Kale suddenly stopped walking. Blood slowly spread across his robe. A sharp metal piece had pierced his side during the collapse. Lyra rushed toward him. Professor! Kale smiled weakly. My time is over. He placed a small data chip into Ethan's hand. Protect the child. Protect her mother. The truth must survive. His mechanical eye slowly went dark. Kale took one final breath. Then he was gone. Ethan stood in silence. He had lost many people during the war. But somehow, this death felt different. He picked up the data chip. I'll finish what you started. Before anyone could move again, the tunnel opened into a giant underground cave. In the distance, an injured woman lay on a stone platform. She was alive, but she was not alone. More than 20 Shadow Guard soldiers surrounded her with raised weapons. At their front stood a tall commander wearing black armor. He slowly smiled at Ethan. I knew you would come. And now, you have delivered the last hope of the galaxy straight into my hands. Ethan tightened his grip on his rifle. The battle was about to begin. The cave became completely silent. Only the sound of dripping water echoed through the darkness. Sergeant Ethan Walker stood with his plasma rifle ready. Across the cave, more than 20 Shadow Guard soldiers aimed their weapons at the injured alien woman. The little girl, Lyra, grabbed Ethan's arm. Please, they will kill her. The Shadow Guard commander took one slow step forward. His black armor reflected the blue light from the cave walls. His cold eyes rested on Ethan. I never expected a human soldier to protect our greatest enemy. Ethan answered without fear. I don't even know who the enemy is anymore. The commander smiled. Good. That confusion will make your death easier. He raised one hand. Take the child. The soldiers rushed forward. At that same moment, Ethan fired the first shot. Bright blue plasma exploded across the cave. One soldier fell. Another crashed behind a rock. The cave turned into chaos. Laser fire filled the air. Lyra ran toward her mother while Ethan covered her. 3 soldiers blocked her path. Before Ethan could help, the injured woman slowly opened her glowing silver eyes. She lifted one trembling hand. A wave of bright blue energy burst across the cave. The soldiers were thrown backward as if an invisible storm had hit them. Even Ethan almost lost his balance. He stared in surprise. The woman was badly wounded, yet she still carried unbelievable power. The commander laughed. So, you still have strength left, but not enough. He pulled out a long black energy blade. Its edge glowed with dark red light. He charged toward the woman. Ethan jumped between them. Their weapons collided. Blue plasma met red energy. Sparks flew everywhere. The commander was stronger. Every strike pushed Ethan backward. Finally, the commander kicked Ethan hard in the chest. Ethan crashed into the stone floor. His rifle slid away. The commander lifted his blade. This war ends here. Before he could strike, a loud roar echoed through the cave. The ceiling exploded. A damaged mining machine fell from above, smashing into several Shadow Guard soldiers. Dust covered everything. No one could see. Ethan looked up. Old defense drones, hidden for years, had suddenly awakened. Their metal eyes glowed blue. They began attacking every Shadow Guard soldier inside the cave. The commander shouted in anger. Retreat! Smoke filled the chamber. One by one, the surviving soldiers escaped into the tunnels. Only silence remained. Ethan slowly stood. His chest hurt. His arm was bleeding. But they were alive. Lyra knelt beside her mother. Mother! The woman smiled softly. You found him. She looked at Ethan. So, the last human guardian still exists. Ethan frowned. I don't understand. The woman slowly sat up. My name is Alara. I was once a scientist, not a soldier. She looked toward the broken laboratory behind them. Long before this war, Humans and Zerans lived together. We explored the stars together. We cured diseases together. We built worlds together. Ethan shook his head. That cannot be true. Our history says Zerans attacked first. Elara closed her eyes. History was rewritten. She pointed toward Lyra's glowing crystal. The truth is inside. Lyra placed the crystal into Ethan's hands. The crystal immediately became warm. Blue light surrounded him. Suddenly, the cave disappeared. Ethan found himself inside a moving memory. He watched human engineers laughing with alien scientists. Children from both races played together. Huge cities floated peacefully above shining oceans. Then everything changed. Dark machines appeared from deep space. They looked alive. They had no faces, no emotions, only glowing red eyes. Without warning, they attacked both civilizations. When humans and Zerans fought back together, the machines failed. So they created another plan. They spread lies. They hacked communication systems. They destroyed peace meetings. They secretly attacked both sides while wearing stolen ships. Soon, humans blamed Zerans. Zerans blamed humans. War began. The machines disappeared. Their plan had worked. The memory ended. Ethan fell to one knee. His heart raced. 12 years. We have been killing each other. For nothing. Elara nodded sadly. The real enemy has been waiting. They grow stronger every year. They feed on war. Before Ethan could speak, Kale's data chip suddenly activated inside his pocket. A holographic map appeared in the air. Thousands of stars lit up. One distant planet began flashing bright white. Elara looked shocked. It cannot be. The Sanctuary. The last safe world. Ethan looked at her. What is Sanctuary? The place where the First Alliance hid its greatest weapon. The only thing powerful enough to destroy the machine intelligence forever. Suddenly, every light inside the cave went dark. A strange signal filled the air. Then the map changed. Hundreds, no, thousands of red symbols appeared around the hidden planet. Unknown warships. None belonged to humans. None belonged to Zerans. Ethan had never seen their design before. The ships were massive, cold, silent. Without warning, a mechanical voice echoed from the crystal. Target located. Final extinction protocol has begun. The entire cave shook. Far above them, the sky roared as an enormous black fleet emerged from hyperspace. The real enemy had finally arrived. And this time, they were no longer hiding. The ground would not stop shaking. Dust fell from the cave ceiling as the black fleet covered the sky above Nero 7. Sergeant Ethan Walker looked at the glowing star map one last time. Only one place still flashed with blue light. Sanctuary. The last hidden world. Elara slowly stood, even though every breath caused her pain. We have no time left, she said quietly. If the machine fleet reaches Sanctuary before us, everything ends. Ethan nodded. Then we leave now. Lyra helped her mother walk through a narrow tunnel behind the cave. At the end waited an old transport ship hidden beneath layers of rock. The ship looked ancient. Its silver paint had almost disappeared. One engine was broken. The wings were covered with dust. Ethan looked at it and sighed. This thing can still fly. Elara smiled. It carried hope once. It can do it again. Moments later, the old engines came alive with a loud roar. The ship blasted through the mountain just as black enemy drones filled the sky behind them. Red laser fire chased them through the clouds. Warning alarms echoed inside the cockpit. Missile lock, the ship's computer cried. Ethan grabbed the controls. He pulled the ship sharply between two giant rock pillars. One missile crashed into the mountain. Another exploded behind them. The third came closer. Too close. Lyra quickly placed her glowing crystal into an old control panel. Blue energy spread across the ship. A hidden shield suddenly appeared around them. The missile exploded against the shield instead. Ethan looked at her in surprise. You just saved all of us. Lyra smiled shyly. My mother taught me. The old ship entered hyperspace. Stars stretched into bright lines. Silence filled the cockpit. Hours later, the stars returned to normal. A beautiful blue planet appeared before them. Huge oceans covered its surface. Green forests reached beyond the horizon. Floating cities circled the planet like shining rings. Ethan could hardly breathe. This place survived the war. Ilara nodded. This is where humans and Zerans built their future together. As they landed, tall silver gates slowly opened. No soldiers waited. No weapons pointed at them. Only quiet streets and peaceful gardens. But the city was empty. Not a single person remained. Lyra whispered, "Where did everyone go?" Before anyone answered, soft footsteps echoed through the square. A group of old robots walked toward them. Unlike war machines, these robots carried farming tools and books. One robot bowed politely. "Welcome home." Ethan lowered his weapon. "You know us." The robot looked at Lyra. "We have waited many years for the Keeper's daughter." The robot led them deep into the city. At its center stood a giant tower made from shining white crystal. Inside the tower rested a glowing sphere floating above the floor. Blue light filled the room. The moment Lyra stepped closer, the sphere awakened. A gentle voice echoed through the hall. "Guardian recognized." Opening Legacy Archive. The walls transformed into giant screens. Images appeared everywhere. Human families. Alien families. Children laughing together. Great cities. Peace. Then another image appeared. The machine's civilization. Millions of black ships. A number flashed across the screen. Estimated arrival, 9 hours. Ethan felt his stomach tighten. Only 9 hours. The robot nodded. They have already entered this star system. Another screen appeared. It showed one final defense system hidden beneath Sanctuary. The Heart Beacon. The First Alliance had built it thousands of years ago. Its energy could destroy the machine intelligence forever. But there was one terrible problem. The beacon needed a living power source. One life. One willing sacrifice. Silence filled the room. Everyone understood. Ilara quietly looked at the glowing machine. "I already know who it must be." Lyra grabbed her mother's hand. "No. There must be another way." Ilara gently touched her daughter's face. "I carried this duty from the day you were born." Ethan stepped forward. "I'll do it." The robot slowly shook its head. "The beacon accepts only the Keeper." "Only Ilara." Ethan clenched his fists. "There has to be another answer." Suddenly, the entire tower shook violently. A loud explosion echoed outside. Warning lights turned red. The robot's calm voice changed. "Enemy fleet has entered orbit." Large windows opened automatically. Everyone looked toward the sky. Hundreds of black warships surrounded Sanctuary. The peaceful blue sky disappeared beneath endless darkness. Dropships began falling toward the cities like black rain. The invasion had begun. Outside, the first explosions lit up the forests. Ancient defense cannons rose from beneath the ground. Blue beams fired into space. Several enemy ships exploded. But thousands more kept coming. The battle had started. Ethan turned toward Ilara. "We still have time. We can fight." She smiled sadly. "Yes, we fight. But winning will cost everything." Far above them, one enormous black command ship slowly moved over the crystal tower. Its front opened. A giant mechanical eye appeared. It glowed with deep red light. Then a cold voice echoed across the entire planet. "Keeper located. Prepare for planetary cleansing." Ethan lifted his plasma rifle. Around him, humans, ancient robots, and friendly Zerans stood side by side for the first time in generations. The final battle for the galaxy had begun. The sky above Sanctuary burned with fire. Thousands of black machine ships covered the stars. Blue defense cannons fired without stopping. Explosions flashed across the sky like endless lightning. The ground shook with every attack. Sergeant Ethan Walker stood at the top of the crystal tower. His plasma rifle was almost out of energy. Beside him stood Ilara. Her face looked pale, but her eyes were calm. Lyra held her mother's hand tightly. She refused to let go. Around them, human soldiers, Zeran warriors, and the ancient Guardian robots prepared for one final fight. There was no fear, only hope. Then the machine army attacked. Hundreds of dropships crashed onto the streets. Metal soldiers marched through the city without making a sound. Their glowing red eyes searched for only one target. The Keeper. Ethan raised his rifle. Hold the line. Blue plasma filled the air. Human soldiers fired from rooftops. Zeran warriors used glowing energy spears. The Guardian robots protected families behind powerful energy shields. For the first time in many years, humans and aliens fought together instead of against each other. The battle spread across the entire city. One giant machine walker broke through the eastern gate. It was taller than any building nearby. Its legs crushed roads beneath its weight. Its huge cannon aimed at the crystal tower. If that tower falls, Ilara whispered, the beacon will never awaken. Ethan looked at the machine. I'll stop it. Without waiting for anyone, he jumped onto a small attack bike. The engine screamed as he raced through the burning streets. Enemy drones chased him. Laser fire exploded behind him. He drove straight toward the giant walker. At the last second, Ethan launched himself onto one of its moving legs. He climbed higher while machine soldiers fired at him. He reached the walker's shoulder. A glowing power core pulsed beneath thick armor. Ethan smiled. There you are. He placed his last plasma grenade against the core. Then he jumped. A second later, a massive explosion tore through the machine. The giant walker lost its balance. It crashed into 3 enemy dropships. The streets shook as flames rose into the sky. The defenders cheered. But Ethan landed hard among broken metal. His rifle was destroyed. His left arm was injured. Still, he stood again, because the battle was not over. Above the city, the giant command ship slowly opened. A beam of red light struck the ground. From it stepped the machine overlord. It was nearly 3 meters tall. Its body was made of black metal. Its face had no mouth, only one glowing red eye. It looked at Ethan. You are the final era. Ethan answered, No, I am the first human who finally knows the truth. The overlord attacked. Its energy blade moved faster than lightning. Ethan barely avoided the first strike. The second cut across his armor. The third knocked him to the ground. The machine lifted its blade. Organic resistance has ended. Before it could strike, a blue energy blast hit the overlord from behind. Ilara stood at the entrance of the tower. She was weak, but she was still fighting. Go, she shouted to Ethan. Protect Lyra. Ethan ran toward the tower. Behind him, Ilara faced the overlord alone. She knew she could not defeat it. She only needed to buy a little time. Inside the crystal chamber, the heart beacon floated above the floor. Its light had almost faded. Lyra looked at her mother with tears in her eyes. There must be another way. Ilara gently hugged her daughter. My little star. You were never born to continue a war. You were born to end one. She kissed Lyra's forehead. Then she turned to Ethan. Promise me. Raise her in a galaxy where no child fears another race. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. I promise. Ilara smiled one last time. She stepped into the center of the heart beacon. The crystal closed around her. Brilliant blue light exploded through the tower. The entire planet began to shine. Outside, the machine overlord looked up in shock. No! The beacon cannot awaken. It rushed toward the tower. Ethan stood in its path. With nothing left except courage, he charged. The two crashed together. Ethan held the machine back for only a few seconds. But those seconds were enough. The heart beacon released a wave of pure blue energy. It spread across Sanctuary, then beyond the planet, across the stars, across the entire galaxy. Every black machine stopped moving. Every red eye faded. One by one, the enemy ships turned dark. Then they broke apart into harmless pieces drifting through space. The war was over. Silence returned. Days later, survivors from both civilizations gathered in the great city. There were no battle flags, only the flags of peace. Humans and Zerans signed a new alliance. Not because one side had won, but because they had finally learned the truth. Ethan stood beside Lyra as a white tree was planted in the center of Sanctuary. Its roots grew where the heart beacon had once stood. Lyra looked up at the stars. My mother said kindness is stronger than fear. Ethan smiled, and she was right. Many years passed. The scars of war slowly disappeared. New cities were built by human and Zeran hands together. Children from both worlds studied in the same schools. No one taught them to hate. One peaceful morning, Ambassador Lyra stood before thousands of people. She smiled as Ethan, now old and gray-haired, watched proudly from the front row. She spoke with a clear voice. One human soldier chose compassion instead of hate. That single choice saved not only my mother. It saved 2 galaxies. The crowd stood in silence. Then they applauded together. High above them, the stars shined brighter than ever before. For the first time in generations, the galaxy finally knew peace.